So we have been working on journalizing all of our transactions, and in lesson 3.4, we are going to learn what's called proving and ruling a journal. And this will be what happens when we reach the end of a journal page and when we reach the end of a month. So let's do some vocab quickly. When you are working on a journal, you will use all but the last line. Now you can have multiple pages of a journal because you might have multiple transactions. So if you are working along in a journal and you still have more transactions, but you need another page, you will, on the last line, use what's called carried forward, and then you will start a new page until you get to the end. Every time you finish a page in a journal, you have to do what's called proving. And proving is making sure that your debits equal credits. The other thing that you will also do is what's called ruling. And this is taking a ruler and drawing a straight line at the end of every single page to determine whether or not you are done with the month, in which case you would do totals, or whether or not you'd need to carry your amounts forward and start another journal page. So prove and rule go together. Now, like I said, if you are journaling along, and in this example, they have gotten to the 20th of August, but they've ran out of room, then they're going to do what's called carried forward. And this would mean I'm continuing on to the next journal page. On the next journal page, they would use what's called brought forward, and those would be amounts coming from the previous journal page. In addition, they would have to prove and rule every single page. It doesn't matter whether you're at the beginning of the month or the end, you will always prove and rule every page. So first we're going to go over how to prove and rule, and then we'll look at that carried forward and brought forward stuff. So when we prove a journal page, again, this is making sure that our debits equal our credits. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to fill in the amount columns. So if we look at the total for the general debit column, we're going to take that number and we're going to put it where it says general debit column. So we're going to put that $3,543 right there. Then we're going to take the total in the credit general column and we're going to plug it in where it says credit general column, 5750. Next, it says sales debit column. There is no such thing as sales debit, so that just gets to stay 0 or blank. The sales credit column total is $19.60, so we'll drop that in there. Then we have the cash debit total of $6,710, and then we have the cash credit total of $2,543. At this point, we are going to do step 2, which is to add up all of our debits and then add up all of our credits. So our debits are going to be 3,543 plus 6,710, so 10,253. That I put there. And then our credits are 5,750 plus 1960 plus 2,543, and I get 10,253, and I put that there. Now, step 3 is to verify that our debits equal our credits, because that's the whole point. That's what proving is. 10,253 equals 10,253. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 2 lines that look like an extended equals sign underneath my totals. That means that I have made sure that these equal out each other. So that is what we do when we prove a journal page. Now the other half of this is, like I said, is ruling a journal page. So ruling a journal page is when you get to the end of whatever page you're working on, either totaling up the page or determining whether or not you have to carry forward your amounts. So in our example, we're going to say that we are working through all of our August transactions and we run out of space on our first journal page, so we have to start another. So in this example, the very first thing that I'm going to do is rule. So I'm going to take a ruler and I'm going to draw a line under the very last entry, which is right there. Then the second thing I would do is I'd put the last entry's date. So in this case, the last entry was on the 20th. I'm going to carry that 20th down and I'm going to put that there. Then, because I'm not done with my transactions for the month, I'm going to carry forward these amounts. So I'd write the word carried forward. Then I need to total up every single column. So I'm going to add all of my debits in the general. I'm going to add all of my credits. I'm going to add all of my sales. I'm going to add all of my cash debit and all of my cash credit. And those numbers would get written on those lines. Once I've made sure that I've totaled all those up, I will rule the double lines because I know that they equal. Then I need to start my second journal page where I can finish my transactions for the month of August. So I'm going to start by putting in a page number. This is the second page for the month of August. I'm going to copy down the last date. So I've got August 20th. Note that because I'm starting a new month, I do need to rewrite the month. Then I'm going to write the words brought forward and check off or put a V under the post reference column. Then I'm just recording the totals from my previous page. So I'm putting the general debit number into the general debit number, the general credit into the credit, the sales into the sales, the cash into the cash. And at that point, I would continue journalizing all of my transactions for the month of August until I'm at my very last transaction and I'm ready to prove and rule the end of the full month. So in this case, I've finished up on page 2. I've journalized the remainder of the transactions in August, and now I'm going to prove and rule my totals. So again, I'll rule that single line. I'll draw with a ruler before I'm going to write the word totals. I will date, and it will always be the last date of the month. So in this case, the last date of August is the 31st, and that works out well because my last transaction was on the 31st. But sometimes your last transaction might not fall on the last date. So it's always the end of the month. It will either be 30 or 31. It is not the date of the last transaction. In this case, the last date in August is the 31st, so I put the 31st. Then I'm going to write the word totals because I'm totaling everything up for the month. Then I'm going to actually calculate all the totals. So once again, I add everything in general debit, add everything in general credit, add all the sales credits, the cash debits, and the cash credits. Once I've made sure that those column totals are correct, I rule the double equals line because I know they're correct. Now, I do want to go through what this looks like in its entirety on this working together and on your own problem because there's one last section that's called proving cash that is not in your notes that I need to teach you how to do. So please, please, please still watch and work along with me on this. So we are going to get a complete month of April to journalize, and then we'll prove and rule each page, and then we'll prove and rule cash. So in this first example, I'm going to be given the remaining transactions for April, and I'm going to have to prove and rule each journal page. So I've got April 23rd, sold services on account to LaRoe, 375 S2. So I'm journalizing just like normal, April 23rd, sold services, that means sales is a credit. It said on account, so I've got accounts receivable from LaRoe, and if I've got a credit, this has to be a debit, and I was using sales invoice number 2. So I've got sales invoice number 2. I have finished the April 23rd transaction, so I'm just going to cross it off. April 27th, paid cash to owner for personal use. So I'm going to drop in the 27th. Paying cash is a credit. And then owner's personal use, that is a drawing. So Norm Derner drawing. And if I have a credit, I have to have a debit over here. And then my source doc was check number 7. So I'll write that there. And I'm done with that transaction. Now, I do have a transaction for the 29th and the 30th, but I'm at the bottom of my page. So I need to actually start my second page with those transactions. Now remember, when we get to the bottom of a page, we are going to prove and rule that page. So I am going to use the same date here because I still have more transactions. So I'm going to drop in the 27th because that was my last transaction. And I'm going to carry forward all of these amounts because I'm not done yet with my entire page. And then I get to check off this post reference column because I'm saying check, yes, I'm at the end of my page. So now I'm going to be totaling each of my columns. So this is the fun part. I'm going to take 375 plus 500 plus 300 plus 250 plus 1000 plus 510 plus 148 plus 1000 plus 375 plus 500. I get 4958 for my first column total. In my second column, I have 1,500 plus 500 plus 255. I get 2255 for my second column. My third column, 2,500 plus 510 plus 375. I get 3385. Then I've got 1,500 plus 2,500 plus 255, 4255. And my last column, 375 plus 300 plus 250 plus 1,000 plus 148 plus 1,000 plus 500, 3573. So I've got 3573. Now, because I'm continuing on to page 2, I need to bring all of these amounts forward. So I'm going to take the same date and I'm going to drop it down here. And remember, I need to include my month because I'm bringing this forward. So I'm bringing forward these amounts and I'm going to check off the fact that these are correct. So 4958, 2255, 3385, 4255, 3573. Now I can continue journalizing my remaining transactions. So on the 29th, received cash on account for Rum LaRoe. So I've got the 29th. Receiving cash is a debit. I got it on accounts receivable from LaRoe. So this is going to be a credit. And my source document here was receipt number 3. In my final day, I've got the 30th, received cash from sales in T30. So I've got the 30th. When I receive cash, that's a debit. Sales is always my credit. And remember, when I use 2 special amount columns, I need to check off the fact that I don't have an account title and I don't have a post reference. And then this was tape 30. Because I'm at the end of my page, I'm now going to do another proven rule. So April has 30 days in it. So I'm going to put the last day of April, which is the 30th. And these are my totals. Now I get to add up all of my columns. So this first one's easy. I don't have any numbers to add here. So this is 4958. Then I take 2255 plus 300. So 2555. Then I'm going to take 3385 plus 544. I've got 3929. Then I've got 4255 plus 300 plus 554. So 5099. And this last one's really easy. It's that same number that I just get to drop down, 3573. Next up, I'm going to be proving my pages to make sure I'm correct. And then we're going to do that proving of the cash that I talked about. So I'm going to start by proving page 1, and then I'm going to prove page 2. So I'm going to look at these page 1 numbers, and I'm just copying the numbers down. So the general debit number was 4958. The general credit, 2255. I do not have a sales debit. That doesn't exist. Sales credit, 3385. Cash, 4255. Cash credit, 3573. And now I'm going to total these up and make sure that they're equal. 4958 plus 4255, 9213. Then I've got 2255 plus 3385 plus 3573, 9213. Because those debits equal the credits, I know I did that right, so I can go down and I can prove page 2. I've got 4958, 2555, 0 for sales debit, sales credit 3929, cash 5099, cash credit 3573. Once again, I'm going to add these 4958 plus 5099, 10,057. Then I have 2,555 plus 3929 plus 3573, 10,057. So again, my debits equal my credits and I'm good. This last little bit is where we prove cash. It's just an extra safeguard. So it asks first for you to tell me cash on hand at the beginning of the month. If I read up here, the beginning cash balance is $0. So I'm going to put $0 in here. Now I want to know cash received during the month. When I receive cash, that is a debit. So I'm going to go to the debit column for cash, and I'm going to copy that debit cash received and drop it there. Now it says equals total. So I'm going to take these two numbers and I'm going to add them because it says the word plus. So 0 plus 5,099 is 5,099. Then it says cash paid during the month. When I pay cash, that is a credit. So I'm going to copy my cash credit amount and I'm going to drop it down there. Now it wants to know equals. So actually I'm going to subtract these two numbers because I am subtracting the cash used. So I'm going to take 5,099 minus 3,573 and I get 1,526. That should equal, so if I scroll up, it says the balance on the next unused check stub is 1,526. If I bring that down, these two numbers equal, so I know that I have proved that debits equal credits for each of my pages and for my cash.